And the winning ways of Elena Rybakina in 2026 continue. Stamp it. Win number 29 on the year.
6-4, 6-4, 6-3.
A straight sets victory in her first.
The dust settles in Rome, but the story is just beginning. The BNP Paribas Arena has gone quiet. The electric Roman crowd has spilled out into the night, leaving behind a scoreboard that reads 6-4, 6-3 in favor of world number 3 Elena Rybakina. For Alex Eala and the millions of Filipinos who stayed glued to their screens, the Italian Open dream is over. But before you mourn this result, understand what it actually means. A 6-foot Grand Slam champion, armed with one of the most lethal serves in the history of women's tennis, needed every weapon in her arsenal to put away an unseeded 20-year-old. That is not a defeat to be ashamed of. That is a statement. The numbers tell the real story. Strip away the emotions and look at the data, because the statistics from this match reveal something extraordinary. Rybakina's serve was, predictably, the dominant force. 6 aces. A 62% first serve landing rate. When that first delivery found its mark, she converted 73% of those points, a suffocating, almost unfair advantage. Against a weapon like that, survival itself is an achievement. But here is where it gets interesting. When Rybakina's first serve failed her, she suddenly looked vulnerable. She won only 45% of her second serve points, meaning more often than not, she lost the point when pushed into that position.
Why?
Because Eala was waiting. She stepped inside the baseline, took the ball early, and whipped heavy topspin returns directly into the Kazakhstani's feet with the kind of aggression that top 10 players usually only show against lower-ranked opponents. Now flip the comparison. Facing one of the sport's most aggressive returners, Eala won 55% of her second serve points. A 20-year-old Filipina outperformed the world number 3 in arguably the most pressure-sensitive statistic in clay court tennis. In the rallies, when raw power was neutralized and the match became a tactical chess game, Eala was the better player. Where the match was decided, so if Eala was winning the baseline battle, where did it slip away? Double faults and breakpoint conversion. Eala committed 5 double faults. Rybakina committed none. But those 5 double faults were not signs of technical failure. They were the footprints of extreme psychological pressure. Eala knew that a safe, spinny second serve would be punished mercilessly. So she went for her spots. She tried to be precise under impossible conditions. Sometimes that courage costs you, and today it did. On breakpoints, Rybakina generated 7 chances and converted 4. Her ability to suddenly flatten her ground strokes and inject brutal, unexpected pace into neutral rallies gave her the breaks she needed at the most critical moments. Yet look at Eala's breakpoint record. 1 opportunity, 1 conversion. 100%. When the door cracked open, she walked straight through it without hesitation. The tragedy is simply that Rybakina's serve kept that door nearly shut the entire afternoon. 9 points. That was all. Total points won. Rybakina 69, Eala 60. In a straight sets victory for the third-ranked player on the planet, most would expect a blowout. Instead, 9 points separated them across 2 complete sets of elite professional tennis. 9 moments. 9 swings. That is the entire gap between a reigning Grand Slam champion and a young woman who wasn't even seeded in this draw. Eala also recorded the longest consecutive point-winning streak of the entire match, 6 straight points at her peak, compared to Rybakina's best run of 5. When Eala locked in, even the world number 3 couldn't stop her. The match itself, the 6-4, 6-3 scoreline, understates the war that actually took place. In the first set, Eala came out swinging. She wasn't intimidated. She dragged Rybakina into long, grinding exchanges, moving the taller player side to side, exploiting her lateral mobility on the clay. Her first serve landed at 67%, consistently keeping Rybakina on the back foot. The set was essentially even until one break at 4-5, where the pressure of serving to stay in the set proved decisive. Rybakina stepped in, unleashed a barrage of flat, heavy ground strokes, and claimed the set. In the second set, Rybakina adjusted. She recognized that trading 20-shot rallies with Eala was a losing long-term strategy and began pulling the trigger earlier, going down the line aggressively to avoid getting locked into Eala's cross-court topspin patterns. It worked. She grabbed an early break and defended it with her serve, leaning on those 6 aces whenever Eala built momentum toward a comeback. Eala fought until the final point, sliding across the clay, retrieving shots that most players wouldn't reach, refusing to concede anything for free. But Rybakina simply had too many weapons to be denied. At the net handshake, the mutual respect was unmistakable. Rybakina knew what she had just survived. The bigger picture for every Filipino who rearranged their day, set an alarm, or sat breathless through every game. Take a step back and absorb what these past 2 weeks actually produced. Eala dismantled Magdalena Freck. She avenged her Auckland loss by crushing 31st seed Wang Sinu. She became the first Filipino player in the Open era to reach the Italian Open round of 32. And then she stood across the net from the world number 3 and made her work for 2 hours. Her 4 career top 10 wins were not accidents. 8 years at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca have built something real, a tactically sophisticated clay court player with elite footwork, punishing topspin, remarkable defensive instincts, and a competitive spirit that simply refuses to break. Losing to Elena Rybakina when she is serving at a 73% first serve win rate is not a failure. That is championship-level tennis from the Kazakhstani. What matters is that Eala met it, matched it in stretches, and left Rome with the entire WTA Tour having seen exactly who she is. A WTA 1000 clay court run now sits permanently on her resume. She departs Rome with a significant haul of ranking points, pushing her closer to a new career high. She carries with her priceless, first-hand experience of handling the raw pace and power of the very best players on tour. But above all else, she leaves the Italian capital with something no statistic can fully capture: the deep, unshakable conviction that she belongs at the highest level this sport has to offer. Next on the calendar is the WTA 500 in Strasbourg, followed by the grandest stage in clay court tennis, Roland Garros, the French Open in Paris. Make no mistake, the WTA locker room was watching today. Every player, every coach, every analyst with a screen saw the world number 3 strain to close out a 20-year-old. They saw the second serve win percentage. They saw the flawless breakpoint execution. They saw that heavy, kicking left-hand topspin repeatedly disrupting Rybakina's rhythm and forcing errors from a player who almost never makes them. The secret is out. Alex Eala is no longer anyone's dark horse. She is a genuine, measurable, undeniable threat in the Roland Garros draw, and opponents will be studying her game the moment the Strasbourg draw is released. So, to the Eala army, do not lower your flags today. Raise them higher than you ever have. Fill every comment section with pride. Celebrate the fight, the resilience, the brilliance, and the sheer audacity of a young woman who traveled to Rome unseeded and made the 3rd best player on the planet earn every single point. The world number 3 won the match today. But Alex Eala won something that cannot be taken away: the respect of the entire tennis world. The Italian Open chapter is closed. The road to Paris is open. The pearl of Philippine tennis is shining at her brightest, and she is walking toward Roland Garros with fire in her eyes and absolutely nothing to fear. The WTA Tour has been put on notice.